Another death reported in San Diego's hepatitis outbreak. The new city program aimed at boosting vaccinations.
It was a constant battle because the wind was shifting. It would come one direction at 60 miles an hour and then turn around and come the other direction at 60 miles an hour. Meanwhile, while we're doing this, we're watching all our neighbors' houses explode, literally, up on ridges. We're watching trees explode. The sounds were incredible.
Remembering the wildfires in wine country, the property owners who stayed behind to defend their homes.
The Flash and Thor, and then Superman is around here, Batman, Spider-Man, the Green Lantern, and my dad is Captain America. And I'm Hulk. Show me your muscles. Come on.
Meet the superheroes entertaining young patients in San Diego on Halloween. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. A developing story tonight in Manhattan. NYPD is treating a crash that killed 8 people and injured nearly a dozen others as a possible act of terrorism. Police say a man driving a rented truck deliberately drove onto a busy bike path this afternoon. Police and witnesses say the driver got out of the truck screaming and holding what appeared to be a gun. Police shot the man and took him into custody. New York's governor is calling this a lone wolf attack with no evidence of being part of a wider plot. This is happening in the Tribeca area, not far from the World Trade Center. A witness describes what he saw in the moments after the crash.
Definitely saw the car damaged. I heard a loud bang. The front of the car was totaled at that point, and the guy coming out of the truck was injured.
This was an act of terror, and a particularly cowardly act of terror. We know that this action was intended to break our spirit. But we also know New Yorkers are strong, New Yorkers are resilient, and our spirit will never be moved by an act of violence, an act meant to intimidate us.
PBS NewsHour is following this developing story and will have full coverage coming up at 7 right here on KPBS. The hepatitis A outbreak in San Diego County claims another life. And today, the county released the latest numbers. 20 people have died and 20 new cases have been reported this week. That's double from the week before. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman has more on a new city program to get people vaccinated.
You're going to feel a small poke.
Paramedics are used to giving injections.
You're done.
But they usually are not allowed to give vaccines.
I'm going to give you a Band-Aid here. Thank you for your participation in the program.
With the hepatitis A outbreak, the state of California is temporarily allowing local paramedics to deliver vaccinations. San Diego Fire Rescue is taking advantage of the new rules.
We came up with a plan to set out foot teams to find high-risk targets to give hepatitis A vaccinations. Vaccinations are a little different. They're not an emergency medicine. They're more of a prophylaxis treatment. However, the actual physical act of giving the medication, the injection, is something we do a myriad of times in our profession. So it's an easy fit for us.
The paramedics get a list from the county and then head out to places where vaccines aren't readily available. That means they can be vaccinating homeless or illicit drug users, but also people who stay at community centers and shelters, like serving seniors downtown.
The program has been running for 2 weeks, and the department says so far they've given out 81 vaccinations.
Hepatitis A vaccination is a 2-series vaccination. We're trying to identify the high-risk population that require the first vaccination, and then we'll refer them to 211. Some people will refuse, or we're not kind of unsure about it, but it gives us an opportunity to educate the public as well about it.
Teams consist of a registered nurse, a captain, and paramedic. Recently, they have been focusing vaccination efforts downtown, but tell us they plan to move to the South Bay soon. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
The total number of people infected now stands at 536. Hundreds of Marine recruits are being treated for possible E. coli. A Camp Pendleton spokesperson says there was a spike in cases reported Monday. Most of the 300 sick are in training at Marine Corps Depot in San Diego near Lindbergh Field. Medical personnel on base are caring for the majority of these patients, while at least 10 have been transferred off-site for treatment. The source of the outbreak is under investigation. The 5th annual open enrollment period for Covered California begins tomorrow. KPBS health reporter Kenny Goldberg says despite President Trump's attack on the Affordable Health Care Act, California's health insurance exchange is alive and well.
Covered California is not following the federal lead of shortening this year's open enrollment period, nor is it cutting its marketing budget. In fact, the exchange is launching a new outreach and marketing campaign. Covered California's executive director, Peter Lee, says the problem is the population of the uninsured keeps changing.
It's not like the people who were uninsured 5 years ago are the same people who are uninsured today. And we know that 3/4 of the people who are uninsured today and are eligible for financial help don't know it.
Last year, 86% of people enrolled in a Covered California plan got financial help. Open enrollment runs through the end of January. Kenny Goldberg, KPBS News.
We may soon know why customers are being charged billions of dollars for the failed San Onofre nuclear power plant. The state appeals court plans to review relevant emails between regulators and Governor Jerry Brown's office to decide if they should be made public. The First District Court of Appeal has ordered the California Public Utilities Commission to submit the emails for its judges to review. 2 San Diego consumer lawyers have sought the emails for nearly 3 years, and they believe the communications contain key answers to how a deal to bill ratepayers more than $3 billion to shut down San Onofre was reached. Heavy traffic in Mission Valley is not enough to stop a religious tourism center from coming to San Diego. Today, the City Council gave final approval for the Legacy International project. Televangelist Morris Cirillo is paying the $131 million center, which will include a hotel and domed theater along Hotel Circle South. Part of the construction will include adding traffic lanes to ease congestion. A local group is warning an important San Diego landmark is endangered. Save Our Heritage organization works to preserve and protect historic San Diego sites. Now this group has added the stadium in Mission Valley to its annual list. SDCCU Stadium, until recently known as Qualcomm or the Q, is being called one of only a few mid-century designed stadiums left in the U.S. The group is urging the city not to tear down the 1967 construction. You can find a full list of the top 10 endangered San Diego landmarks at kpbs.org. San Diego City Council members finalized plans for bike lanes that go through the heart of Hillcrest today. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says the project was once highly controversial.
Things are buzzing around lunchtime at University and 5th Avenue in Hillcrest, where the new bike lanes are set to begin. Andy Hanshaw of the San Diego County Bike Coalition says the improvements are overdue.
Well, University Avenue, as you can see, has got a lot of high-volume traffic, higher speeds. It needs traffic calming. It's got issues with pedestrian and bicyclist safety. Adding a bike lane will improve that situation and get more people safer space to ride.
2 years ago, county transportation planners were proposing a continuous bike lane along University, but Hillcrest businesses successfully lobbied to kill a roughly half-mile section right in the middle of the bike network. They said the removal of a handful of parking spaces would hurt their business. The plan by city officials relocates some parking and adds more parking to the neighborhood as well. The new bike lanes are expected to be painted before the end of the year. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
Californians are getting ready to pay more at the pump starting tomorrow. That's when a gas tax increase of 12 cents a gallon kicks in across the state. Billions of dollars will be going to road improvement projects at the state and local level. The flip side, the tax increase will be hard on many commuters and could spark inflation, as higher transportation costs may result in more expensive groceries and other goods.
People are really mad about it. As far as folks in my district, we heard more on the gas tax than anything else since I've been here. I think at the end of the day, people still have to go to work and go to the doctor, so they've got to put gas in their cars, so they've got to do more with less. And that's the unfortunate reality.
Caltrans has made a commitment to fixing 17,000 lane miles of pavement, more than 500 bridges, culverts, traffic management systems up and down the state. And that's just Caltrans. Of course, this is creating revenue for the cities and counties as well.
There is a proposed ballot measure in the works calling for the repeal of the new gas tax increase. Governor Jerry Brown continues his international fight against climate change with a 10-day trip to Europe. He leaves next week with stops at the Vatican and the United Nations Conference in Germany. It follows trips by Brown to China and Russia earlier this year to promote international agreements aimed at combating global warming. The governor has emerged as a counterpart to President Donald Trump as the White House retreats from international commitments. A campaign to repeal California's new sanctuary state law is gaining momentum. Supporters have been cleared to begin gathering signatures to qualify a ballot measure for next year. Those opposing sanctuary status say the new law threatens public safety.
For anybody that looks at this, and you have people across the country that say, how it just makes no sense. We're in an upside down state, in an upside down world right now where the common sense, rational folks are looking at it saying, where the heck are the adults in this country, in this state? My objective is to start to restore that.
The sanctuary state law is set to take effect on January 1st. It will limit local and state law enforcement from cooperating with federal immigration officials. Opponents could place that law on hold if they succeed in gathering 365,000 signatures by the first of the year. California billionaire Tom Steyer stopped by the weekly protest outside Congressman Darrell Issa's office this morning to lobby for his campaign to impeach the president. KPBS North County reporter Allison St. John was there.
Even months after the last election and months before the next one, a crowd shows up to protest outside Republican Congressman Darrell Issa's office, and a handful of people show up to support him.
This is actually the weekly demonstration outside Congressman Darrell Issa's office here in Vista, which attracts a couple of hundred people every week. This week is particularly colorful because it's Halloween and there are some amazing costumes. And also this week there's a special appearance from Tom Steyer, who is calling for the impeachment of the president.
What I know is this president is a danger to the American people, and I know the majority of Americans agree with me. I know that all those people in Washington, D.C., whether they're Democrats or Republicans, know he's unfit for office.
Steyer says the president has brought the country to the brink of nuclear war. He addressed the crowd of protesters and cited the president's attempts to repeal health care and cut taxes to benefit the wealthy and corporations.
It is amazing to see what Darrell Issa is suggesting.
He said Issa's allegiance to the president's proposed tax cuts would mean higher taxes for his constituents.
Darrell Issa is doing the wrong thing, and Trump is doing the wrong thing. But it's also that they're not doing the right thing. There are really great things that we can do as a country that are within our grasp that will make this century better than any other time in American history. So it's not just the rotten things they're choosing to do. It's that we're not investing in the American people. We're not building a clean, sustainable America. There are great things that are in our grasp that the American people can do together.
Steyer has not ruled out a run for governor of California or a Senate seat.
Are you going to run for office?
I don't know.
Steyer has spent about $10 million for a television ad campaign advocating for President Trump's impeachment, and the campaign has reportedly collected 1 million signatures. Allison St. John, KPBS News.
Up on the next News Hour, our America Addicted series continues with a focus on prevention. That's Tuesday on the PBS News Hour.
The deadliest wildfires in state history are now officially the costliest. The state insurance commissioner says property damage claims now exceed $3.3 billion. That's a huge jump from the previous number of $1 billion, and more claims are expected. The claims cover losses in Napa and Sonoma counties, along with damage done by fires in Orange County. California winery owners are still feeling the effects of the Northern California fires. One winemaker says his harvest will suffer like many others. As Sherry Gyro reports, it may hurt more than his bottom line.
There's a big smile.
A kind-hearted quest destroyed in an instant by wildfire.
The fire was really fast and it's devastating.
This is Dr. Senders. Dr. Craig Senders travels the world repairing cleft palates, and he uses this to foot the bill. Senders and his wife Karen are California state winemakers. But on this day, their harvest is in jeopardy after a firestorm ripped through the Napa Valley.
In our winery, there's no power, so all the things you normally do when wine's fermenting, you can't do. You can't pump the wine, you can't do anything to the wine during the fermentation process, which will greatly affect the quality of wine.
The Senders use Napa's most plentiful fruit to produce some of the world's most luxurious Pinot Noirs and Cabernets.
There's going to be a shortage, definitely. And as far as how much we are able to make to also support our surgical outreaches, it might be impacted.
Like a war zone, nothing but ash is left on the ground. Surviving grapes and vines smothered in smoke. The Senders winery miraculously survived.
Here now we have smoke that's going to be around the liquid in high concentrations during the time that you're fermenting wine.
The Senders say nothing compares to the loss of life during the devastating fires. But still, Craig's mission must press on.
Ready to go home?
From the state capitol, this is Sherry Gyro reporting.
Another ranch in Napa Valley was saved from the Tubbs fire. Ranch owner Derek Webb and his neighbors fought back the flames. KQED producer Shiraz Sadiq talked with Webb about the firefight.
Wildfires have been raging throughout Northern California. When did you know that your property was going to be in danger?
Yeah, so I was just eating dinner on the back porch Sunday evening, and a neighbor of mine raced down the road. He's a volunteer fireman because he could smell smoke. We knew my property wasn't on fire, and we couldn't see any fire, so then we all raced down the road looking for the fire. We're coming back up the road, and then all of a sudden we looked up the hill and just saw a massive fireball coming up over the mountain.
What did you do?
Well, first thing we did, besides being very scared, is we went back down the street and told everybody to evacuate. So we made sure that everybody else saw the fireball and knew what to do. I personally stayed, as did my neighbor, because we wanted to defend our properties, but most of the neighbors left. We started at 10 o'clock fighting the fires, and we finished at basically 8 o'clock in the morning. We used tractors, we used backhoes, we used shovels, we used picks, we used wet blankets, everything you can think of. It was a constant battle because the wind was shifting. You know, it'd come one direction at 60 miles an hour and then turn around and come the other direction at 60 miles an hour. Meanwhile, while we're doing this, we're watching all our neighbors' houses explode, literally, up on ridges. We're watching trees explode. The sounds were incredible. Propane tanks exploding, cars exploding, everywhere you could look. You know, 360 degrees.
As the wildfires continue to burn, killing at least 19 people in Napa and Sonoma counties, Derek showed me how close the flames came to reaching his property. Derek, I see this line right here where everything is charred, but this from here onward is okay.
Yeah, so Shiraz, literally this line is where we ended the fire with rakes and shovels. That's it. There were 100-foot flames out here, 50-foot flames there, 20-foot flames here. The reason we were doing this, you can see that's all burnt out. There's nothing there. But if you look over here, you can see we were able to save all of this. And that was the miracle of what we were able to do.
So Derek, you literally risked your life to save your property.
Well, we did. It wasn't just me. It was myself, my employees, and my neighbor. We all risked our lives, but we thought it was worth it. The reason I wasn't scared is that we have a swimming pool in the center of the property that's not up against any buildings. So I told everybody in the beginning of the night, if we're going to fight this thing, if it gets out of control, we all go here, and this is where we ride the storm out. Thank God we never had to do it. I have cried so many times over the last 2 days. I'm not a super emotional guy, but I think just going through the whole thing and then just realizing the luck of the draw.
It's not just Derek who has an emotional connection to Triple S Ranch, which dates to the 1800s and was once a dairy farm and restaurant. Since he bought the property in 2012 and began renovating it, 150 couples have rented its grounds, Grand Victorian, and rustic barn to celebrate an unforgettable day. Derek, on November 19th, 2016, my wife and I got married under this beautiful, majestic walnut tree. On that day, it rained 2.5 inches. Before I exchanged my vows, I thanked our guests for coming to our monsoon wedding. It's hard to believe that 11 months later, this tree, along with your property, may have gone up in flames.
Well, you know what they say in California, earthquake, fires, and floods, and you know, we have them all the time, but the beauty's irreplaceable, and that's why we fought so hard to save it. You know, the terrible thing about fire is 5 houses can be destroyed, 1 house survives. There's a little bit of guilt in that even.
As the sun receded behind the hills, Derek took me a mile up the road to visit one of the neighboring properties, now reduced to ashes.
This is a neighboring resort just right down the road. Everything was destroyed, as well as 30 houses that sit between here and there. And just by the sake of God, you know, we escaped it, and unfortunately they did not. It just breaks my heart to no end to see what this is and imagine what this owner will go through.
That was KQED producer Shiraz Sadiq speaking with ranch owner Derek Webb. Gloomy skies over Oceanside this morning with a mild surf. Plus, we saw light showers in parts of the county today. If you're heading out, you may want to add a jacket to those Halloween costumes. Erin Calandra has your trick-or-treat forecast.
Happy Halloween, everybody. If you are trick-or-treating tonight, you should have some pretty good conditions. Let's take a look at what happened here today. We did have some showers, maybe some misty fog here in the morning along the coast, and then across the county, some spotty showers, mainly earlier on today. Cloud coverage for most people. Taking a look at the bigger picture, to the north of us for now, it's pretty quiet, but we do have a system that will be pushing to the south by the weekend, and that's going to change things. We're going to see some snow in those higher elevations in the Sierras. Here we are tonight, 62 degrees, mostly cloudy, no rain in the forecast, so it's going to be pleasant if you are trick-or-treating. Maybe a light jacket to take with you. Oceanside 55, Poway 58, San Diego 62, and Ramona 52 degrees, Alpine 51, Borrego Springs 58 degrees. Tomorrow, it's going to be nice. We will have some improvement. We have this high pressure system in place. That's going to keep most of us dry and sunny, so not much going on here across the southwest. Another story of a dry, pleasant day. In San Diego County, temperature is a bit cool. San Diego 69 degrees, Alpine 69, Oceanside 70, and Poway 73. Up in Borrego Springs 81 degrees, so very warm conditions there, as it should be. Taking a look nationally late week, we do see the system here in the Pacific Northwest. They're getting some snow, some rain. It's going to be shifting to the south. We're going to see some very gusty winds to the north of us. But for us, it's just going to be a bit gloomy. More cloud coverage this weekend, and also a couple showers off and on. So Wednesday through Friday, it's going to stay mostly clear. Temperatures right around 70. By Saturday, some showers move in, and on Sunday, off and on showers, cooler at 68. Inland, again, sunny through Friday in the mid-70s. And then for the weekend, it's going to be a bit gloomy but warm in the mid-70s with off and on showers. It will stay dry in the mountains, lots of sunshine, but cool. Temperatures in the 50s for our highs all week long. And here in the desert, again, some showers on Sunday, staying warm, though, in the upper 70s to low 80s. For KPBS News, I'm Erin Calandra.
It's Halloween, and even kids who can't be at home like to dress up and celebrate. KPBS video journalist Katie Shula was at Rady Children's Hospital today when some special visitors came by.
How old are you?
4.
You're 4? Whoa.
Kaylee Mikulski has been battling leukemia for 2 years now.
You have any brothers or sisters?
1 brother.
Would you like a pin?
Kaylee says her 7-year-old brother Drew is going to be jealous of how cool her Halloween was. He's probably going to say, "Oh, I wish I could meet superheroes."
Show me your muscles.
Her mom, Kelly Mikulski, says she's a fighter. Perfect. Just like who she's dressed up as. Rey from Star Wars The Force Awakens. She goes like this: "You'll never be strong as Darth Vader."
At first I said, "Oh, we're going to clinic on Halloween." And she's like, "Oh, but I want to go trick-or-treating." I said, "But everyone's going to be dressed up. It's going to be really fun." And sure enough, she's had a blast.
You want to learn how to clean a window?
Colby Dwyer owns A+ Window Cleaning along with his dad, Dennis, a.k.a. Captain America, and his brother, Kyler, a.k.a. Hulk.
Kind of try to have them forget a little bit about the reason that they're here and put a smile on their face. High five. Atta girl. One more, yeah. All right, you're awesome. We love cleaning windows, but there's no better day to
put a smile on kids' faces than Halloween. So we're out here dressing up. This is our 3rd year doing this, and hopefully many more to follow.
They regularly clean Rady's windows, but today they do it for free and take some extra breaks.
All right.
Katie Shulev, KPBS News.
Awesome. All right. Happy Halloween.
Here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. On Morning Edition, next sexual harassment allegations aimed at Hollywood movers and shakers, and the big ticket productions on hold for the investigations. And on Midday Edition, Bottoms Up, we'll sample the best suds for Craft Beer Week in San Diego. That's tomorrow on KPBS Radio. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.